It's my honor to introduce Nate today. Nate is going to be our speaker. I've known Nate for a few years. We actually do a disc golf night every year at the stadium, and one of my favorite parts is we do a home run derby with disc golf and watching the guys just throw these things and let them fly. We hope not to hit anybody with them, but if we do, I've got the sign that says "Watch for Flying Objects." A little bit about Nate. Nate's the owner and the CEO of the Ledgestone Disc Golf Operations. He's got 20 employees in 5 different states. He's the #1 distributor of Discraft products, and they run the 2 largest disc golf tournaments in the world. Nate also serves as the president of the board of directors of the governing body for the sport of disc golf, the Professional Disc Golf Association, and he also serves as the chairman of the Paul Macbeth Foundation. But he's here to talk about disc golf, so I'm going to let Nate come up and tell us a little bit about the growth here in Illinois.
Thank you for having me. How many of you have played disc golf here? Okay, that's more hands than I thought. So whenever we have the home run disc contest at the ballpark, my concern actually isn't hitting people. As a now part-time insurance person, my concern is that we'll hit cars and cause a car accident actually. But do want to talk about disc golf. For those of you that don't know, it's been around for over 40 years now. It's played like traditional golf. It's cheaper than regular golf. It's more fun. It's easier to play. And this is coming from somebody who played traditional golf for 20 years. So, but Peoria is actually the area here is considered a disc golf mecca for the United States. We have 14 18-hole courses. We have another dozen 9-hole courses. Within the next 5 years, there'll be more disc golf courses in the United States than golf courses. Right now, disc golf is averaging about 3 new courses to be installed every day in the United States. And so it really is growing. Right here in the central Illinois area, we boast actually several of the top-rated courses in the Midwest, including actually the hardest course in the world right in Morton. There's a professional tour for disc golf. They tour around the country. We have an event here that they all come to. This kind of shows the viewership growth for disc golf. This shows the number of members. So disc golf has, it basically doubled during the pandemic, but it's continued to really explode. It's a sport that anybody can play. Anybody can go out and buy discs for cheap. But really, it's the second fastest growing recreational sport in the world behind pickleball now. Disc golf did have that title for many years, but that darn pickleball has just taken over. So demographics, I mean, disc golfers, mostly male. We're trying to get more females, but it's great for families. But right here in central Illinois, we're lucky enough that we host the annual Ledgestone Open, which is the largest disc golf tournament in the world. It started back in 2011 with just 105 players, and this year we'll have 2,300 players, 6,000 spectators, hundreds of paid staffers, and hundreds of volunteers. I like to tell the story that every year on Wednesday, a couple guys from California show up on their motorcycles, and they carry the signs around all week. And they come every year to volunteer. They drive all the way from California and they go back home. And they're retired. And so we have volunteers from all over the country. Like back in 2020 during COVID, the event grew exponentially. Disc golf takes place outside, very safe sport. We had 1,337 players, but this year we'll use all 14 permanent courses that have 18 holes in the central Illinois area. We're also fortunate we are a primary fundraiser for St. Jude. Since 2014, we've raised $532,000 for St. Jude. So that kind of shows the growth of the event in terms of the purse. So it is a professional event where we have mostly amateurs play, but we are one of the stops on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And so some of the top players in the world. Most of them come to this event. They're making a very good living. Paul Macbeth is a 6-time world champion. He has a $10 million contract to play disc golf from one sponsor, and so it is becoming a bigger deal for kids to get into. So just some of our media stats, because I wanted to leave some questions at the end. But last year we had over 2 million views just for this event here in Illinois. So Morton and Eureka, those are our primary courses. Little town of Eureka, they're getting a lot of good PR for their park. 2 million people watching people throw frisbees over lakes and ropes and that kind of stuff is great for a town like Eureka, a town like Morton. We host other events in this area. We were fortunate enough in 2019, we hosted the Professional World Championships, and we hosted the Ledgestone event that summer. Last year we hosted the Amateur World Championships, the Junior World Championships and the Masters. This year we're hosting the Junior and Amateur World Championships plus the Ledgestone event. And so we have so many good courses in this area. It really is just, as I said, a disc golf mecca, but we're trying to get more courses. And so somebody who mentioned Donovan, who mentioned Donovan? Somebody, you have a pavilion there. We'd love to put a disc golf course there, by the way. We've tried for years. So if anybody wants a disc golf course at Donovan, tell Emily Cahill that. So this is kind of a map of some of the courses we have. We have courses on golf courses. We have courses in sportsmen's clubs. We have courses on private land. We put a course at Wildlife Prairie Park. We put a course at Kennel Lake. We put a course at Sunset Hills. We have courses in public parks. We have courses at churches, youth camps. We've worked with national partners. One of our biggest partners is Merrill. Discraft is the world leader in disc sports. If you throw a frisbee, that's an ultimate frisbee, or you buy it at Dick's or Walmart, it was most likely produced by Discraft. They make all their products in Michigan. Bushnell. We just had a new partner, Peoria, Escape Town Peoria. They came to us. We're doing a disc golf themed escape room at one of our host hotels. So we have a lot of unique partnerships. For us to continue to grow disc golf here, we're looking to add more courses. In fact, we have grants available to essentially pay for the entire thing. So when we talked to the Peoria Park District last time, we told them that we'd pay for the entire project for Donovan Park. So if anybody has land and they want a disc golf course, just give me a call. So, and I believe I wanted to leave the rest for questions. So that is all I had to say about disc golf, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Which course in Morton is the world's hardest? Is it Megiddo?
No, it's we have the Megiddo Westwood course, but Northwood Black is the hardest course in the world. So that's one of our primary courses for the Ledgestone Open. But that is, even the best players in the world get very frustrated there. So
what makes it so difficult?
that course specifically, a long golf course is 7,000 yards with wide fairways. A long disc golf course is 8,000 feet with wide fairways. Northwood is 10,500 feet with very tightly wooded fairways. So keeping it on the fairway out there is hard. But when you get off the fairway, just getting to your disc in the woods is hard. So like normal golf, yes. So.
Nate, thanks for being here. I live in Morton, and my son picked up disc golf when he was younger, loves it. I've done it a little bit. But I just wanted to thank you and talk about the economic impact on Central Illinois. I know I have friends of mine that have an Airbnb. They've rented it out to folks from Europe. But the only reason they're in our area is to experience the disc golf. So just thank you for that, and could you comment on that, please?
Yeah, we work with 8 area hotels, and we have a room block, and they're full every year. Many other hotels fill up. For my staff, I usually look for Airbnbs the day after the tournament ends for the next year, just because they fill so quickly. We had a gentleman and his buddy come from Denmark a couple of years ago, and they were here for 16 days. They did everything from waste all their money at the casino to floating down the river, which I didn't think still existed here, but floating down the river on tubes to going to the Visitors Museum. And so this specific event is the second biggest event that takes place in Morton outside of the Pumpkin Festival. It's the biggest event for Eureka. It's a large event for a lot of communities that we're in. I think last year the economic impact was $2.5 million just for this one event. But a lot of people come visit here outside of the tournament time just to practice the courses. So there is a widespread tour. I mean, there's probably a few hundred players that are traveling across the world to compete full time and try to make a living off disc golf. So.
Yes. Do you offer classes, and how much does a game cost, please?
During the event, we have clinics from top professionals who can teach people, and those are free. And so if you go to our website, ledgestoneopen.com, we have free clinics during that week for juniors, for beginners, and we don't charge for that. To play disc golf, almost all of our venues are free. Locally, Sunset Hills is a golf course. They do have a fee to play. Wildlife Prairie Park, I think it's $9 to play. But most disc golf courses are in public parks like Morton. Kennel Lake is a private course in Morton, but if you're a member there, it's free. So.
How did your interest in the sport go from playing the sport to what you're doing with it now?
Yeah, I actually, I worked in insurance. I still kind of do. But this is my full-time job now. But I started with Ledgestone Insurance out of Morton back in 2010. And in 2011, I had the idea to say, I'm going to start a disc golf tournament to promote my insurance agency. And that went really well. I actually got a lot of clients from that. And the tournament had 100 players. It wasn't much, but by 2015, we were running, 36,000 discs a year with the Ledgestone branding, and last year that was 300,000 discs. And so it's quite a big, operation. And so it took from, I started playing back in 2000. I've competed in multiple world championships, but as I started doing too much promotion, that saw my skill level decline. But that's kind of how I started it as a promotion, and now it's kind of my job.
So thank you for being with us today. How far do you have to be able to throw it to be competitive?
For the top, male players, 600 feet, 550, not accurately, but accurately 400 feet down a 8 to 10 foot wide fairway is what, they can do pretty consistently. So, and the women are very impressive as well. They can throw 500 feet. A lot of the top guys, the longest throw recorded would be 4 football fields, so 1,160 feet. So out in the desert in Vegas. So it's very impressive to watch them throw really far. So
You'd think they'd need an engine to go that far.
What is some of the discussion with Donovan that is there resistance there or different schools of thought on the usage of the park?
Yeah, we approached them several years ago, and they, said, "Wow, we're very interested." And then there was I think SIDS had come on board, and we had thought it would be favorable for SIDS to have more people there. Bradley Park in Peoria is our busiest park in the area. It gets 50% more rounds played than any golf course in the city. And so my pitch to them was to ease erosion at Bradley Park. Let's get people playing on an old golf course. They pushed back, and then we said, we'll pay for the entire thing. And then they said, we need a new parking lot because SIDS, may not want you there. We think SIDS would want us there. We'll keep, I try every year. So,
Where does your funding come from? It sounds like it's great. It's free most places. How do you sustain the operation?
Yeah, if you go into our warehouse, we have 100,000 discs right now. We sell discs online and we distribute. We have customers in New Zealand, so they buy our Ledgestone discs, and then we run tournaments all over the country. To be honest, that bring in revenue as well. So,
Is there a handicapping system similar to?
Yeah, golf has the USGA You're a 3, you're a 4. Disc golf is on a scale of 1,000. So if you're a 1,000 rated player, you're considered scratch. And at every 10 points above that or below that would be your average. And so if I average 980, that means I'm 2 strokes per round below scratch. So some of the top rated players are in that 1050 level. So they're averaging, 5 strokes per round, even better than scratch, essentially. So, yeah. And that's what the governing body, the PDGA, is kind of the USGA and the PGA Tour. That's one organization doing kind of both roles in disc golf.
You're not throwing just a frisbee. Can you talk about the different discs that you throw?
Yeah, there are hundreds of different molds. The weights are around 175 grams. So frisbees are bigger in diameter. The discs are smaller. Some professional players can throw them 75 miles an hour. And so injuries are rare, but if you get hit at a long distance with that, it could definitely take your eye out. So, they're definitely heavier, and they're kind of a thicker material, and so you can get them through the wind a little more easily than a frisbee, because no one's throwing the plastic frisbee from Walmart 600 feet, but they can throw those discs really far. So.
You have a recommendation for a good starter disc for a person that wants to start?
Yeah, the Discraft Buzz is kind of the, it's what they call a 7-iron for, ball golf, but that's kind of the most popular disc in the world. Most people can at least attempt to throw it straight, and it can go pretty straight. So that's kind of a cheater disc that lets you kind of, learn quickly. But it really is a sport that you can learn quickly. I played golf since I was 7 years old, and it took me 10 years to become a scratch golfer. It doesn't take quite as long to become good at disc golf. So, yeah.
One of the things that would seem that would really put you on the international level would be a television contract. Are you working on something like that? What do you think?
Yeah, there's an organization called the Disc Golf Pro Tour, which runs the professional tour. They own something called the Disc Golf Network, which is Netflix for disc golf. They have about 50,000 paying subscribers who pay $150 a year. But separately, we've been on ESPN and CBS Sports. The hard thing with disc golf, we can give them a recorded show all day long that's 42 minutes for ESPN, and they've done that many times. But to do live golf, they have cables going out to 18 holes. If you do live pickleball, you can have 2 cameras and pick it up in one spot. Disc golf, you're over 50 acres. You can't get the cables there, at least with our, economy right now with the funding we have. The top players are playing for a couple $100,000 purse. If you go play the PGA Tour, they're playing for $8 million. So we're not quite there yet. But we have been on ESPN a half dozen times in CBS. And so they're working on it, but it's more of a getting the cables and getting the live setup. Because right now we do film every event live, and it's available. And some have, tens of thousands of peak concurrent viewers, but they need cell signal to do that. So some locations don't have cell signal to be able to get the live coverage.
I know you said that currently right now you have funding to do another course. On average, what is the cost to start a course?
I mean, we did Kettle Lake for maybe $20,000, and we've seen courses. There's a course in Missouri that's the Augusta National of Disc Golf, and he spent $2 million. And so mostly you can get courses for $25,000 to $50,000, depending on kind of how much excavation you have to do. So we can do it pretty economically, to be honest. And yes, we do have funding. We have grants that would pay for most of the construction and all the equipment for courses. So especially in this area. So.